New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., it is the Sunday evening MasterClass. And now, Amazon bestselling author and lecturer, all the way from her super secret studio, the Reverend Dr. Charlette Manning.
Good evening, everybody. Hello, my master producer. How are you this evening? I hope everybody's doing well. And welcome to Sunday Evening Masterclass with Dr. Charlette. I hope everybody's doing well. Looks like we just froze there, Michael. I can see myself, but I'm not. My lips aren't moving.
Hello.
Okay? What's going on there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Why don't you just keep going? You're doing fine.
Cool.
You will unfreeze, I think.
I will unfreeze. Okay, so the greatest.
If not, then what I'll do then is I'll come back in.
Okay. All right. One of the things that I find so wonderful about technology is that some things you can blame on it and not on. I'm here doing what I'm supposed to do. So we're just going to hope that we will unfreeze, or you can just enjoy the view, right? So anyway, I want to thank you for joining me again on my second premiere show on Sunday Evening Masterclass. And I want to, Michael, you just pop back in. Are we doing okay?
Yes, Dr. Manning, we're going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to come right back here. And you in the meantime, what you're going to do is you're going to get out of the room and then come back in. All right.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we will be right back.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferland Foundation for your generous technology grant. big shout out to all our committed donors.
All right, we are back here at the Sunday Evening Masterclass here on the New Thought Media Network. And we're having some technical challenges here right now. So if Dr. Manning can hear me, if you could just log back in and we'll get you right into the screen here. But again, if you would like, we have all kinds of ways that you can contact the show here. That's the main way, which is c@drcsmanning.com. That's c@drcsmanning.com. If you can go ahead and send us your questions and all kinds of wonderful things. Here is her main website is drcharlettemanning.com, drcharlettemanning.com. There's all kinds of information there, and would love to have you check out the website. Dr. Manning also does coaching too. So if you'd like to get in contact with her, she does have a limited amount of coaching time during the week since she is very busy. So, but she would love to talk to you and work out issues, especially issues around forgiveness. And also, since we're still working on the technical problems, this program is brought to you by the fine people here at New Thought Media Network. So if you would like more information about our wonderful network, it's ntmedia.org, ntmedia.org. Click on the schedule. Again, it's an ever-expanding schedule during the week. And also, if you could click on the donate button. The reason that we're able to do this program this evening is because of, again, of the generous donations by nice people in the previous promo that I just played. All those people donate on a monthly basis here to our wonderful network. So it's ntmedia.org/donate. Also, if you could comment below here on Facebook, and hopefully we're getting the technical problems ironed away here. I hope so. I think what I'm going to do here is this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play a couple more promos, and then we will be back here. This is live here. We don't do anything pre-taped or anything. So again, you're watching here the Sunday Evening Masterclass here on the New Thought Media Network.
New Thought Radio, music from all your favorite New Thought artists. From Jamie Lula, Karen Drucker, Gary Lynn Floyd, Ricky Byers, Daniel Nahmod, Eddie Watkins Jr., and many, many more. 24/7 New Thought Radio. Positively inspiring.
I think our technical department got her back.
I think I'm back. Oh, I have to tell you.
So Diego's in the background, okay? And he's going, are you having trouble? Diego, thank you very much.
Oh my gosh. Listen, I had just set up my phone. I was going to say, if I couldn't get back in this time, I was just going to call in on my phone. This is why I do the work I do, because you got to be able to just kind of go with the flow sometimes. And as my good friend, close friend, my meditation guru tells me all the time, it is what it is. And I always say it is what it is till it isn't. But anyway, we are on. Thank you so much for your patience while we iron out some of these technical difficulties. But it's all good in the neighborhood. So we just want to continue on. Take a deep breath, exhale, and know that God is good all the time. So we just want to thank you for joining us tonight on the Sunday evening masterclass with Dr. Charlette on the New Thought Media Network. So I want to thank my producer and my right-hand soul to soul brother from another mother, Pastor Michael Mangus, for doing the tough stuff. For God knows if I had to do this and that, I don't know what I'd be doing at this point. But anyway, thank you for being here. Last week was my maiden voyage, my premiere show, and I was really excited to see not just the number of people that tuned in last week, but last Sunday night, but all those people that have been tuning in throughout the week this week. And what's really good about this medium is that you can tune in. There's several ways to see a rebroadcast from the show, and you can get it on YouTube. Just type in Sunday Evening Masterclass with Dr. Charlette. Or you can go to the New Thought Media Network Facebook page, or you can go to Charlette Stokes Manning's Facebook page, and you can see a rebroadcast. I mean, you can see, rebroadcast, or for those of you that don't get to catch it on Sunday night, you will be able to listen to it during the week. So again, I want to thank you for being here. And again, I got a lot of feedback. I'm my biggest critic. So I'm always telling myself, take a breath, slow down, don't talk so fast. Make sure that you are conveying the topic, or finish your sentences, in other words. And I just did that again. So I wanted to talk a little bit tonight. I've had the pleasure of listening to some of the other programmings on the New Thought Media Network, which is an outstanding source to be able to find anything that you need uplifting around, whether it's New Thought Music on the New Thought Music Network, as well as the New Thought Media. You have a such an incredible layout of information to share. It is a full service network that's 24/7, and it runs 7 days a week. So I invite you to join in and check out some of the other shows on the New Thought Media Network. It's ntmedia.org. So check it out. But I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about my book on forgiveness. My tagline is Dr. Forgive. And I've spent a long time working on this thing we call forgiveness. So I wanted to share with you that I have written this book. It's called Forgive. And Forgive stands for facing your fears, organizing your thinking, releasing and letting go the pain of your past and the fear of your future. G is for gratitude, being grateful for where you are right here, right now, because everything that you have learned to this point has made you the person that you are. I is listen to your intuition. The God of your knowing, the God of your understanding will always give you the answer. The key is, as A Course in Miracles teaches us, do we want to learn our lessons in pleasure or in pain? But trust me, God will always get his way. So if we listen to our intuition, we could save ourselves a lot of time and a lot of unnecessary heartache and heartbreak. And I think that the saying is that, am I willing to listen to the plan, or am I going to have to find a way to deviate and get back into alignment with those principles that God would have us perform? Those are the things that we want to talk about. V is for value. Value the little things in life. Nature teaches us an incredible lesson. The sun yields to the moon, the stars, the birds and animals are in harmony with one another. You don't see any of the birds building a nest. You don't see them saying, "Oh, honey, we need to put an addition on the nest." We don't see. Nature only takes what it requires in order to sustain itself. And E is about energy. Your energy, the energy of your body, has to match the level of the manifestation that you wish to create. So just like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, we have to listen to and pay attention to the spirit, the mind, and the body. We often put the body first and we say body, mind, and spirit. But in fact, it is the mind that creates the thought. It is the spirit that receives the thought, and it is the body that makes manifest the thought. So does that make sense? I think Jesse Jackson used to say, if your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, then you can achieve it. There is nothing on this planet that you cannot do when you are in alignment with your spirit, your mind, and your body. So I want to start by saying that there are only two emotions. You're either coming from a place of love or you're coming from a place of fear. And if you're coming from a place of fear, fear is diagrammed down to anger, hate, discontent, disdain, animosity, a lack of compassion. All of those things come from that level of fear that we have taken on into our body that is blocking the spirit from doing the things that it needs to do in order for us to have the relationship with God that God would have us have. So every moment we have a choice. We have a choice between moving to a place of love or staying stuck in that place of fear. You have a choice to release and let go or to hold on and suffer. Reverend Sylvia this morning spoke she's my Unity of Washington, D.C. minister, mentor, sister. I'm her go-to sister, she calls me. And she is not just a sister friend, she is a mentor to me. And I have been associated with Unity of Washington, D.C. for well over 15 years. And I've had the benefit of being taught by, tutored to, and given the hands-on information from who I think is one of the most incredible thought leaders in our genre to this day. And one of the things that Reverend Sylvia said was that the energy should remain. Our conscious living should be elevated to that level where we don't allow ourselves to get distracted, that we are paying attention to the things that God would have us do, as opposed to focusing on what's going on out in the world. Now, yes, there's a lot of chaos and a lot of confusion going on in the world, but as a midwife of conscious thinking, we need to focus more on our birthing this new level of consciousness. We need to focus on what is happening in the sphere of creativity. God is giving birth to a new consciousness. We are seeing that there's a shift in perspective now. And we can either come from that place of fear or we can stay steadfast in that place of love. And I wanted to share one of the things that Reverend Sylvia said, and she wrote an essay in this book called A Moment of Choice. And it's one of those things that I read every single day because it reminds me of who I am and whose I am. And I hope that it can help you as well. It says it's popular to talk about keeping an open mind, but it is here we often find ourselves closed minded and trapped in our own views, beliefs, and ideologies. Uh, Talking to anybody out there? I mean, we are really going through that right now, aren't we? Something else is needed that carries the energy of the spirit with an opened and flowing heart. One becomes more accepting, forgiving, tolerant, compassionate, understanding, and ready to embrace a consciousness of love. Every widening, widening the circle and drawing everyone in. And I've often said that, when you enter into a room, the spirit of who you are enters ahead of you. We say the energy is above, in front of us, behind us, above us, and below us. So when we enter into the world, the level of your conscious being and doing is right there as you enter into the room. So I remember when I was working, I used to go into my office in the morning and I would set the tone as I entered the room. Bruno Mars was one of my favorites, and that 24 karat gold, and I would go in there dancing at 6:30 in the morning and they're asking me, where the heck do you get all of this energy? But I want to set the tone that I am vibrating at a level of consciousness that creates miracles. So once you recognize that love is the answer, only love is real, as A Course in Miracles teaches us. Everything else is an illusion. Therefore, you have the equal opportunity to be able to change the way you see the world and go from a consciousness of fear to a consciousness of love. Love is the answer. Trust me when I tell you, it is so much easier. You are in a light body when you realize that when you are fearful or you are angry or upset, you can't change anything. The only way that you can change anything is once you recognize that forgiveness makes you powerful, not weak. You own your power. You are the one who makes a decision, or rather, you are going to allow. Dr. Phil said it best. He said it best. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And it's not important for me to make you wrong in order to make myself right. The truth of the matter is, everything that you think and feel will be made manifest into your life. You will get the truth about what you think. You will get an experience of what you may feel. And I used to say all the time when you talk about, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I always said that, you should pay attention to the good, listen to and learn from the bad, and release the ugly. Let it go. Because in the light of all eternity, only love is real. So F is for facing your fears. And if you're willing to face your fears, I can tell you, your life will change. I'm a living testament and an example of what love will bring into your life. Always organize your thinking. You can't do anything without a game plan. If you're going to change the way you see the world, you've got to have tools that will support support you on a continuing basis, that will give you the opportunity to recognize that when you pull back into the abyss of doubt and fear and lack and limitation, you have tools in your spiritual toolkit that will pull you out of that. Affirmations are one way to do that. And one of my favorite affirmations is I'm universal joy. I was created to be an example of God's light and love on earth as it is in heaven. So I begin my day with saying, thank you. I open my eyes. The first thing I say is, thank you, God. Thank you for getting me through the night. Thank you to getting my body to rejuvenate itself. And then after I do that and I'm able to sit up, move my legs over to the side of my bed and stand up on my own volition, I ask God, what would you have me do? And I realize that when I ask God for an assignment, God must give me the time, the talent, and the treasure to fulfill whatever purpose God has for me. Every day, in every way, I am all that God created me to be. So I want to just take a moment, say thank you so much for joining me here on Sunday Evening Masterclass with Dr. Charlette on the New Thought Media Network. And we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about releasing and letting go of some of those past hurts and take some of your questions. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And Suze Ajay, thank you for your very generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferland Foundation for your generous technology grant. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
All right, we are back here on the New Thought Media Network with our instructor for the Sunday Evening Masterclass, Dr. Charlette Stokes Manning. We have a brand new feature this week. It is called Ask Dr. Charlette. So if you would like to send in an email like we got this week, all you need to do is send it to c@drcsmanning.com, and we will take your question on the air if you would like us to. If not, then that's okay. We can email you back an answer, as many as we can. But again, we would, if you'd like to go ahead and share it, we'll make sure we get rid of all the names here and to let you be a part of it. So here you go.
Okay.
This is from Perplexed in Pennsylvania. She says, "Dear Dr. Manning, I have read several of your books and have heard you speak in the DC area many times. I am a survivor of sexual abuse at the hands of my father. After several years, at the age of 15, my mother caught him in the act and divorced him by the time I was 16. After years of therapy, I feel pretty good about myself. My mother never remarried. However, her brother was more of a healthy father figure to me than my birth dad. I'm getting married in May of 2022. Congratulations. And even though I see my father occasionally at family gatherings, we do not have a close relationship. I want my Uncle Bill to walk me down the aisle with my mother. My question is, should I even send him an invitation? Even though my mother is letting me decide, my father's side of the family wants me to at least invite him. What should I do? Does forgiveness mean that he has to be a part of my life? And by the way, to this date, he has denied the abuse ever happened. Thank you. And that is from Perplexed in PA. Go ahead, Dr. Manning.
Okay, that's a deep one. Um, Let me first start by saying this, and I think you would also subscribe to this as well, Pastor Mangus. I don't marry any couples that do not go through some kind of spiritual counseling. So I think, first of all, once you have made a decision when you're getting married, I would strongly suggest that you. Um, Make appointments with your minister if he has not or she has not already made appointments for you to be able to have some spiritual counseling before your wedding, and that you would feel open enough to answer that question. So I would offer you the suggestion that you get some spiritual counseling before you get married. Number two, one of Marianne's greatest quotes, I think it's from A Woman's Worth, is I love you, but give me back my keys. So the whole idea is that this is your wedding. And I always tell my brides and my grooms, this is your wedding. You do things the way you want to do. Now, having said that, the fact that you said this happened when you were 15 years old. I'm not sure how old you are now, but it is clearly a pain that you are still living. And one of the chapters that I write about in Facing Your Fears is past hurt never grows up. So the healing work that you have to do is to go into that 15-year-old and to really have a healing with that 15-year-old. That 15-year-old is sending out all of the signals and everything to you, telling you that, don't get involved in this. Stay as far away from them. If this happened then, it can happen again. And all of those things on an energetic level could really be true. But let me offer you this as well. By God's grace, you have moved through this pain of your past, and you have such a promising future to have found the man of your dreams, so much so that you experience love at a level that you want to engage in marriage. And so you are uplifted your spirit to a level of light and love. And I would suggest that you focused on that as opposed to your father. Excuse me. Now, the question becomes, will your father even accept an invitation to your wedding? Is your Uncle Bill is going to give you away. So your relationship with your dad would not indicate that you should want to have him give you away. So excuse me. As a invited guest, if you would have some sort of guilt around him not coming or coming, I would say it's up to you. It's your wedding. I would not be attached to whether you would hurt his feelings or if there's some kind of obligation you have to your mom or anything like that. I say go inside before you go to bed tonight. In fact, ask God, what should I do? And wait on the answer. And whatever it is that resonates lovingly within you, not fearfully, but lovingly from you, then respond to it that way. Then you will get an indication. If you're getting married next year, you have time to work through to build a spiritual toolkit that will help you break through those binds that are holding you back. And whatever healing you need to do at whatever level, then you can do that. And it's okay for you to invite him, and it's okay for you not to invite him. Whatever makes you feel the way that you want to feel. It's your wedding. Talk it over with your fiance and your minister, and then make a decision based on that. That's what I offer. And keep me informed. Let me know. And if there's any way that I can support you on that level, you can also get in touch with me. I do spiritual counseling via Zoom and what have you. So please get in touch with me if you need anything additionally. Does that help, Mike?
Yeah, that's a great answer. I'm glad you had that instead of me. Yeah. So you told me that you also got some email this week too, and some questions. So why don't we go ahead and address some of those here?
Well, I actually got this question last week, during the week last week, and this is from Cynthia. And Cynthia says, how do you forgive? Does the lingering memory impact your ability to love unconditionally? And I think that kind of piggybacks on Perplex's question is, do you want to hold on to things that weigh you down, or do you want to release those things that will allow you to be lifted up? And I often say that, if you use the analogy of a hot air balloon, and as the air is expanding inside of the balloon, they drop the weights on the side of the balloon, which allows the balloon to go up. You have to drop the weight of anger and upset and discontent. You got to drop those bags of sand off your balloon in order to be able to be lifted to the highest level. Love is unconditional, but love also requires you to make and be steadfast in the decisions you make about who you want to share your space with. You want to be the light of love. You don't want to allow other people to infiltrate that. So unconditional love is about the decision that you want to make, loving yourself first. You cannot love anyone else in this world unless you first love you. And you can't love anyone more than you can love yourself. We always say, oh, I love them and I love them. But look in the mirror and ask yourself, are you loving yourself at the level, that unconditional level that will draw into your life those people that you want to share your light and love with? So, and Cynthia, I've done, Cynthia and I have been friends forever and a day. And Cynthia has always been a light of love. She sees the best in everything, but it takes work. It takes time. And when you get to the generation that we're in now, in this level of life, we recognize holding on to the pain of your past doesn't lift you, and it doesn't serve anyone else. So thank you for sharing that question with me, Cynthia. I hope I answered that, and I look forward to talking to you more about it. Okay. I have another question. Do we have a time for another one, Michael, or do we need to pay some bills?
No, you can take as much. This is your show. You can do whatever you want within.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So I have another
5
question.
minutes.
Pardon? Okay. I have another question from Dee Dee. And Dee Dee says, how do I get rid of my negative thinking? Now, that is very interesting because since we went into lockdown in March of 2020, I have had a lot of people asking me this very question. And how do you keep from negative thinking? And the way to do that is every time a negative thought comes into play, you got to call it out. You have to have a spiritual arsenal that supports you in getting rid of the negative thinking. First, my mother used to tell me, worry about things you can change and not things that you can't change. And so if you take your prayers to the altar, you got to leave them there. If you have fears and doubts and those kinds of things, negative thinking, you need to take that. You need it to release that from your conscious thinking in order to be uplifted. And one of the affirmations that I have is be mindful of your thoughts. If you find yourself thinking negatively, catch the thought immediately and replace it with a thought of love and power. Discard it. Get rid of stinking thinking, they used to call it back in the Amway days. You got to get rid of that. You have to ask yourself, am I focused? Am I functioning at my highest level? And what can, if anything, this negative thought or this worry change? If I can't change it, get rid of it. And I often say that God cannot give you the miracles that God has in store for you if you're worried about what you don't have. If you are concerned about how to focus on something that was rather than focusing on what can be. So Dee Dee, I hope that helps you. In fact, I know that it's helped. Dee Dee is one of my clients, and I've spoken to her on several occasions because, we worried about this whole getting COVID. She has a young daughter, and if in fact, how's she going to go back to school? And when they were doing all of the virtual learning and all of it, and I'm just being bombarded with all sorts of things. When are we going to go back to work? If we'll go back to work, am I going to lose my job? All of those things, rather than being present. Your gift is the present. That's why they call it that. And I think that if you focus on the fact that you woke up this morning, waking up gives you an opportunity to make something new. Every day is a new canvas. You are the artist, and you can paint whatever picture you decide that you want for this life. So hopefully that helped you, Dee Dee, and you are going to have an exciting and abundant future ahead of you. And I just know that as you thinketh, so shall you become. Okay. Michael, do you have another question?
No, not right now.
Okay.
However, if people would like to get in contact with you, again, we would love to. We read over all the emails that we do get during the week. So if you could please hold on.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. Ask Dr. Charlette. And that's the email address that you would use. Ask Dr. Charlette at drcsmanning.com. And again, we got the questions off of not only the email, but also off of your comments. So we may not address them this evening. However, that just to let you know that we will take those to pre and post-production meeting, and we will talk about them and get you an appropriate answer. All right.
Awesome. Well, I have two more questions, but we do have to pay some bills. So before we end up, maybe this is a good place to take a quick break. And I want to thank you guys for joining Sunday Evening Masterclass with Dr. Charlette on the New Thought Media Network at ntmedia.org. And we'll be right back.
Thought Radio, music from all your favorite New Thought artists. From Jamie Lula, Karen Drucker, Gary Lynn Floyd, Ricky Byers, Daniel Nahmod, Eddie Watkins Jr., and many, many more. 24/7 New Thought Radio. Positively inspiring.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferland Foundation for your generous technology grant. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
Hey, and we are back. Thank you again for joining us this evening. And I wanted to answer, I've got two more questions, and I think we have enough time to get those in. And one of the questions is, and it's a question I get a lot. And again, we focus so much on our past hurts that we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to really embrace where we are presently. And I think the older I've gotten, the more I realize that I don't have time to waste on frivolous things or past things that went on then that absolutely have no significance. So one of the mantras that I use in my spiritual toolkit is that my past is here to teach me, not to torment me. So remember that your past is not something to be angry about anymore. It's like, in that movie Moonstruck, when Cher slaps Nicolas Cage across the face and says, "Snap out of it." That's exactly what it means, is that you have too much God work to do in order to be focused and ready on the assignment that God has for you. Therefore, you can't waste time doing things and worrying about things that absolutely don't serve you any longer. So the question I have is, why do I hold on so tightly to my past hurts? And one of the reasons we do is because it's familiar. Pain is, when you think about change, it's difficult. People say how hard it is to change, because even if you are in pain, pain is familiar, and the situation and the circumstance. And that is why so many people stay in abusive relationships. And I don't necessarily mean relationships between man and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend. I mean abusive relationships on the job, people that you deal with in your day-to-day life. When you continue to allow people to say things and do things, you have to take an inventory of how you want to be treated in your life and how you're going to show up in your life. Now, you can't divorce your family, but you can choose your friends. You can choose those people that you want to share your light and your love with, and that you want to receive the light and love from. And I have found in my own life and in the lives of people that I share my space with, and teachers, and Reverend Sylvia talked about that this morning in her conscious thinking, and she used the analogy of the silver cord, which is like when the baby is inside of the mother. There, the umbilical cord really is in metaphysical likening is a silver cord connecting you to that nourishment of the universal source. You are as close to being God manifested incarnated in that nourishment that you're getting, that silver cord. And when you are given birth, you become a golden thread, a tapestry. You become that golden thread of tapestry to unite and connect with those other dream seekers, those other thought bearers, those other everlasting manifestors. We draw into our lives those things that best represent who we are and whose we are. So I often say, if you're the biggest fish in your pond, it's time for a new pond. If you are the one that is giving everything and you're not getting anything back, it's time for you to elevate your consciousness, to step out of your box of safety and comfort and step into a new consciousness of being, a new consciousness of understanding. So the question is, why do I hold on so tightly to my past hurts? And that's because they are familiar, and you are constantly on guard, looking for that same kind of hurt to come your way again. But consider this. What if you were willing to see this situation differently? What if you were willing to step out of your comfort zone and step into something greater that God intends for you? And I think if you're going to be afraid of doing something or trying something new, not about something that was or might have been or coulda, woulda, shoulda, that kind of thing. Think about the excitement when the adrenaline is flowing through your body. And I often say we have to learn how to think from our heart up rather than from our waist down. And when you lift your level of consciousness to that level of the divine, God is going to take you places that you could only imagine. It is the best space and the best place to be. And when you got butterflies in your stomach because you are curious about something that's getting ready to happen, guess what? You are an open vessel to receive the miracle that God has in store for you. So what happens when you don't forgive yourself and others? A multitude of blockages occur in yourself and in your life. You are unable to connect to the righteousness of light and love. It's like having a closed fist. You can't receive anything if your fists are closed. You got to be open and willing and ready to receive the abundant life that God has in store for you. Don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. Be fully present in this now moment. Know that everything that happens in your life is preordained. It is either there to teach you and for God to reach you at that level of understanding. So don't let your past be a torment to you. Let it teach you. Let it lift you up to the level of the divine. And know that forgiveness and love are the cornerstone of your life. Forgiveness, faith, gratitude, and love. Those are the four spiritual components of life. You get into that, you connect yourself to that I am, and I can assure you, there in the midst of all of that, God will be there for you. So, Michael, did you have anything that you needed to add? Any other questions or anything that we need to do before we wrap this up this evening? Gosh, this hour went by so fast.
Oh, even with technical problems, we just say.
No, I know. And we're gonna get it together. We're going to get it together. You know, the thing, and again, that's facing a fear. Okay, because I've always been on the receiving end. You know, I've been on your show and other people's show, but actually doing my own show, you know, and Marianne said to me years and years ago, it's time for you to get out there. It's time for you to get out there. But that's a fear. I mean, you
She's
know.
speaking of Marianne Williamson.
Mhm.
So that's who she's speaking of. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
not everyone, Marianne could be my next door neighbor, or it could be
Well,
my
that's
Aunt
true.
Mary.
That's true.
All
You
right.
know, you're right. You're right. You're right. I make assumptions that, everybody knows that, I worked for Marianne for many years, and I tell you, Marianne was one of my greatest teacher. And Marianne was the vehicle by which I stepped out of my box on faith. And you, Pastor Michael, were one of the great benefactors of that. You allowed me to, I used to go to Akron, the Summit Spiritual Center, and do all my practice materials and my workshops and all of that. So if I can leave you with this thought today, I want you to understand and to know that, God created you with a plan and a purpose. And God has intentional assignments for you. Your only quest, your only journey in this life is to be made manifest those things that God would have you do. So always remember, there are no mistakes. There are only opportunities for learning. A mistake is simply an opportunity for a retake. And that retake will enable you to either do it better or let it go. At the end of the day, if you're not coming from that place of love, you need to learn how to let go that fear. So I just want to take this opportunity again to thank you. I promise you, we're going to keep on moving. As Michelle says, we're all in. We're going to be able to keep on moving on up and do it. We're going to get better and better as we go through these growing pains and this new thing. And I appreciate all of you that have joined me and supported me along the way. So I want to say thank you first to Dr. Michael. Perplexed, I'm asking you to stay in touch and let me know what's going on. Cynthia, thank you for always being the wind beneath my wings. Michelle, I want to say thank you to Michelle, she is the reason that I write and I do the things, and she has been a vehicle of light and love in my life. And I'm telling you, when you change the way you see the world, people will come in your life that will just blow your mind. So over the next several months, we will be bringing in some folks that are really going to show you the kind of company that I keep. So know that I love you, I appreciate you, and I behold the Christ in you. So we're going to put the light of God around you, the love of God to enfold you, the power of God to protect you, and the presence of God to watch over you. Because wherever you are, wherever I am, wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Namaste.